मेरे ट्रॉमा ने मुझे ऐसा बना दिया यार। इतना ट्रॉमा को क्यों ब्लेम किया जाता है? बिकॉज़ कहीं न कहीं मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आधे से ज़्यादा लोगों को ट्रॉमा का एग्ज़ैक्ट मतलब तक नहीं पता।
A lot of people are confused about what trauma is, and this is a very individually defined trauma.
So my question here is कि how do you deal with it as a person who's actually going through it?
We have so many rules, laws, precautions towards avoiding such trauma or abuse towards children. And unfortunately, however much we are trying to avoid it, these things keep on happening.
So we need to be more aware, and if
It's
a kid
preventable.
comes to me and tell me कि मेरे साथ किसी ने ये किया,
Yes.
go and check it.
Adults coming to me telling me that they have spoken to their parents about something happened long back and parents ignoring it. And this is what impacts the child. This is what makes them disbelieve in the world. And that leads to all the conditions that we speak of, all the problems.
So recently, we have been seeing a heartbreaking rise in suicides. So to avoid these situations, to avoid more people taking their life, what can we do?
Suicide, to begin with, is very complex. I would say it has multiple causes of it. People always think that people who committed suicide were depressed.
Do you think social media plays a role in all of this?
As much as technology has helped us, it has caused a lot of problems of its own too.
Life as I know it, it's very, very precious. And I am not trying to preach here, I just know it is. So before you do something stupid, think about your parents. आज के टाइम पे बहुत सारे एपिसोड्स मैंने मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज़ के एपिसोड्स मैंने ऐसे देखे हैं, या इन जनरल मैंने लोगों को कहते हुए सुना है कि मेरे ट्रॉमा ने मुझे ऐसा बना दिया यार। इतना ट्रॉमा को क्यों ब्लेम किया जाता है? बिकॉज कहीं ना कहीं मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आधे से ज़्यादा लोगों को ट्रॉमा का एग्जैक्ट मतलब तक नहीं पता। सो what do you say about this?
Very well asked, because a lot of people are confused about what trauma is, and this is a very individually defined trauma. For someone, failing in an exam can be trauma. For someone, going through abuse is trauma. For someone, having a physical injury or cancer is trauma. Trauma is differently defined by different people, but the actual definition of trauma is something that is horrible, horrendous, and life threatening. So, yes, unfortunate physical or sexual abuse is trauma. When you are in a war situation is trauma. Something that probably you've witnessed a live accident is trauma. And from that trauma develops a condition called as post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD, which involves a person having nightmares, fearful days, constantly feeling anxious, unable to focus at things, and so on. But that is a completely different kind of a disorder as compared to anxiety or depression. Apart from that, the other traumas that we are speaking of can lead to future anxiety and depression, and that again is, as I was saying, individually defined. So for someone so it depends on the personality actually. So there are different forms of personality. We in psychiatry define it in cluster A, cluster B, or cluster C, and based on certain tests that we do, we can identify these traits of personality. Personality as such is not a problem. Extreme forms of that same personality leads to a personality disorder. For example, being anxious as a personality is not a problem, but being so anxious that you stop doing things because you're anxious makes it an anxious personality disorder. So even for that matter, there is a lot of confusion between obsessive compulsive personality and obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, in fact, a lot of us call Amir Khan as obsessive compulsive, because the way he does his movies and everything in such a perfect way is in that way. But that is again not a disorder, it's a trait, and when it is used in the right way, it becomes a positive trait. So that way, coming back to our question, our personality is something that can depend on taking that trauma or not, and depending on the person's capacity. We are a sponge, and when water is thrown into that sponge, it depends on how much it can absorb.
Yes.
Sometimes it is just one drop of it, and we are submerged into it, and we become superbly anxious or depressed because of it. Sometimes it is the entire ocean, and still we can take it. So it's not necessary that every trauma would lead to a problem, but trauma, remember, is absorbed by our body. Trauma stays into our body, it stays into our memory, it
Yes,
stays
it
into our tissues.
Absolutely.
And that is why these disorders come in one form or the other. People don't identify it because it probably doesn't affect the routine. In fact, I always say that 80% of the people in the world are going through some or the other condition, but they have not identified it because it has not completely disturbed them, and they are able to function their basic functions at least. So trauma, if for example is stored into our body for too long, it can lead to problems such as, some people come with chronic headache, some people come with a condition called as IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which is a classic condition related to trauma.
Yeah.
So many women come to me having episodes of nervousness, giddiness. It's related to unfortunate sexual abuse and trauma when they've had child, when they were a kid, when they were in school, or they were molested somewhere. These things have a heavy toll on the person's mind. You cannot forget it, you cannot remove it from your mind. It is there, it is stuck in your head.
So, being a person who has gone through childhood trauma, I always used to suppress it.
Exactly.
मैंने कभी उस चीज़ को खुल के नहीं बोला, कुछ भी, कोई भी ट्रॉमा रहा हो, XYZ, एंड इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम चाइल्डहुड, राइट? आपने कुछ विटनेस किया चाइल्डहुड में, वो हमेशा के लिए आपके दिमाग में ट्रॉमा बनकर रह गया. So my question here is कि how do you deal with it as a person who's actually going through it? क्योंकि as far as I know, and I could be wrong, trauma stays with you lifelong.
And that is why we say trauma requires lifelong therapy, literally. And this is why we have so many rules, laws, precautions towards avoiding such trauma or abuse towards children. And unfortunately, however much we are trying to avoid it, these things keep on happening. People don't realize the implications of these trauma. It is worse than the worst, and that is why I urge so many parents. I go for school awareness talks and so many other places where I speak to adults, and the first thing I always tell them, parents particularly, is if you have children, be a guard over them. You are the first responders. You probably, if you leave the child unattended, sometimes these parents unaware, they think that their neighbors are absolutely safe, they can leave them behind. The teachers are sometimes safe. I'm not saying that these are bad people, I'm just saying that we don't know where the attack can come from.
Exactly. So we need to be more aware, and if
it's
a
preventable.
kid comes to me and tell me कि मेरे साथ किसी ने ये किया,
yes,
go and check it.
Exactly.
बच्चे को ये मत बोलो कि it's in your imagination, stop lying, ऐसा कुछ नहीं.
Absolutely.
At least check it once.
There are
right?
adults coming to me telling me that they have spoken to their parents about something happened long back, and parents ignoring it. And this is what impacts the child. This is what makes them disbelieve in the world. And that leads to all the conditions that we speak of, all the problems. Anxiety, depression, all of these conditions stem from them. Because when people don't believe you, people closest to you don't believe you, people think that you're lying, that hurts you.
Exactly. And then where do you go from there? फिर वो trauma और वो depression and anxiety, this is the very first step. So if someone is coming to you and telling you कि something happened with me, please check it, or please talk to that person, I urge you, do not ignore that.
Listen to your child.
Please listen to your child. And coming from this, I have a very important question to ask to you, and it keeps on going round and round in my mind because I am not able to figure out why it happens. So recently, we have been seeing a heartbreaking rise in suicides. Okay, be it a public figure, an artist, people in general, students, and everybody. So what do you think is happening around? I personally don't think it's a trauma is the reason for all of them. Maybe they're going through depression. ओके, मे बी दे आर गोइंग थ्रू समथिंग जो उस वक्त किसी ने नहीं सुना और बाद में एवरीबडी इज लाइक, ओ माई गॉड, दे शुड हैव कम टू मी. सो टू अवॉइड दीज सिचुएशंस, यू नो, टू अवॉइड more people taking their life, what can we do?
Suicide is a topic that I can speak on literally the entire day and probably the entire month as well. Suicide was a textbook in our curriculum. Suicide, to begin with, is very complex. I would say it has multiple causes of it. People always think that people who committed suicide were depressed, are depressed, and they cannot think beyond it. It's not always sadness which causes suicide. To begin with, I would say that suicide has multiple causes of it. So, most commonly, people think that it could be probably trigger based. But suicide again can be defined in two parts. It could be impulsive, it could be planned. It could be a form of suicide called as parasuicide, where a person is just doing it for attention. But sometimes, while they're doing it for attention as well, they end up doing it
They
so
go
badly
too
that,
far.
yes, they go too far, and unfortunately, they end losing their lives too. Suicide is probably a cause related to a condition called as schizophrenia, where you're having hallucinations. Hallucinations means you listen to voices which nobody else can hear. Those are just your abnormal perception, and these voices are telling you to attempt and end your life. And you listen to it. You listen to that voice, you jump, you do something horrendous, and you lose your life. Yes, the most common cause of suicide connected to mental illness is related to anxiety and depression. A lot of people ask me this very relevant question, that should we ask a person about it? They're confused. They think that asking would put an idea into their mind, and that's wrong. That's a myth. In fact, asking makes it, allows them to, be aware of it and allow you to help them. In fact, asking allows the opportunity to be there to save them. And quite often, the parasuicide attempts, most of, when I was in a government hospital, these cases have to run through the government hospital because it becomes a medico legal case.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, people drinking phenyl or some form of rat poison or something is very common when they go through something difficult in their life. So that is again trauma related. So for example, a person gone through a scam can do it. Someone who has had a breakup can do it. Someone who has gone through a failure can do it. So those are not exactly depression, because it wasn't since weeks that they were sad. It was in the moment. Today morning it happened, and they don't know what to do. And in the afternoon
they
they
don't
think,
know how to deal with it anymore, and this is
exactly, the only way they
they
figure
figured
out.
Yes, but also, do you think social media plays a role in all of this? Because when I post a picture, or somebody, any female, any male, post a picture, and then people, faceless people, they don't have a display picture, they don't have any information, and they are just posting some random
Comments.
nasty things. I mean, इतना गंदा गंदा कमेंट करते हैं लोगों के पिक्चर्स में, तो उन लोगों के दिमाग में एक बार को भी ये थॉट क्यों नहीं आता कि मैं जो पोस्ट कर रहा हूँ, इसके में जो मैं कमेंट कर रहा हूँ, ये सामने वाले को मेंटली इफेक्ट कर सकता है.
As much as technology has helped us, it has caused a lot of problems of its own too. Unfortunately, social media age has caused a lot of mental illnesses and mental health problems which we can endlessly speak about. Going from these reels today, I have so many people having negative reviews, as you correctly said, and that affects them heavily, because most of us are living the social age, where we want the people on our Instagram feed, on our Facebook feed, or WhatsApp statuses loving us. So we end up doing things because we want people's appreciation. We want those likes. We want those followers. We want those people to do something that makes us feel encouraged. In fact, there are so many movies made on this. And unfortunately, you end up feeling gratified by it. So I'll go into the neurochemistry on it for a tiny bit. See what happens when such a thing happens. See, there are majorly two chemicals in our brain called as dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine is the pleasure hormone, the pleasure chemical. Serotonin is the serene, the calm one, which keeps us peaceful. Now, what happens when we do any form of addiction, any substance, cigarette, drinking, cannabis, or so on? It releases dopamine. It gives us instant gratification, pleasure, and we are high. And that is why we keep doing it, because it gives us a form of gratification which we would probably get it over a period of years when we work hard and we earn money and we do the same things gradually, which is through serotonin. So, what happens is in this social media, when we post something, we get likes, we get appreciation, people send us hearts, people tell us how, wow, how such a beautiful family, you look so lovely, and so on. It raises a dopamine. So gradually your mind starts wanting to depend on dopamine, and while it is depending on dopamine, it becomes addicted to the dopamine. And now, even though you're not taking any substance externally, you're actually into addiction.
Right.
And addiction makes you vulnerable, because the moment you post something that your viewers don't like and they speak something bad about it, you're going to crash. It's like you've reached the 100th floor and directly from 100 you've come back to 0.
Wow.
While serotonin does not let you do that. It lets you go step by step, one level up, and whenever something goes bad, you come one level down. You don't crash. You don't come down 0. So that is why we should rather rely on serotonin. And people ask me, what do I eat for serotonin? No, you don't eat. You do things for it. You do simple things for it. You take care of yourself. The self-care concept, the me time concept is all about serotonin. So meditate, take out time for yourselves. How many of us have remembered our hobbies? I remember as a child, or when you were a kid, there were teachers asking us to practice our hobbies,
Yes.
to do things. We had craft classes, we had these things. Now it's become a task for kids. You have to do this and you have to become the best in it. You have to bring an A in it. And it becomes as a pressure on the child. We have forgotten our hobbies. How many of us as an adult practice our hobbies? How many of us want to play a guitar but we don't do it? How many of us want to just go to malls and just for the heck of it play games there? How many? We don't do
we
it.
don't do that anymore. Now we'd rather just scroll through our phones throughout the day, checking out
Constantly.
reels and posting comments or waiting for people to comment on our posts. And if they don't, we are all
Devastated.
Yes.
Because that is connected to dopamine, and this is all about the neurochemistry actually. It's actually science, and people don't realize it. In that moment, the way they feel horribly and sometimes end up attempting suicide related to it as well. In fact, most of the people attempting suicide, when I've spoken to the family members, are connected to social media. That probably they did not get this or they did not get that through their feed and they did this.
Wow.
So it's difficult to manage a life, a balance between it.
Life as I know it, it's very, very precious. And I am not trying to preach here, I just know it is. So before you do something stupid, think about your parents. Think about your friends, your families, just for the sake of some likes or something that you wanted, you did not get. Please do not take your life away. You're not just taking your life, you're taking away somebody's happiness, you're taking away a lot from them. So don't do this. It's a request, don't do this. And I'm sure everyone who's watching this will agree with me. And having said that, oh my god, it's getting heavy in here. So for my very last segment, I have a rapid fire question round. So I have my tiny script lying somewhere here. Let me just get it. Okay, let's see what goes in your head now. Okay, so let's go. Therapy session or gym session? Which one do you skip the most?
Gym.
Have you ever cried during a session as a therapist?
Yes.
Okay.
Pain was extreme, and we are empathizers. So most of the time, we feel the same emotion that the person in front of us expressing is. So that is the difference between sympathy and empathy. And that is what we need to learn. That is what is taught to us in our training of psychiatry. So when you are in empathy, you feel the same heaviness, the same pain, the same hurt, and so on. I'll tell you, I heard the case of a very, very small child going through abuse, and that made me highly emotional. I just couldn't hold back, not giving in to that emotion.
Do you want to share the case with us?
It's a little confidential, which is
I
why
mean,
I'll
I
avoid it.
wouldn't ask you to
Yes,
name names
and
or
it could
anything.
be triggering for a lot of people too. But abuse that is why, that is one thing that I actively wish that I could do something about, and I'm probably trying to do as much as I can about it to raise awareness. Yes, people, please come forward when you have gone through abuse and talk to your loved ones, talk to people in authority, believe in them. You are capable of help and you will be helped.
So, this case that you hinted about, is this the only case that left an impact on you?
Heavily, yes. But apart from this case, also there are a few other cases, a few other family related problems, people who have been scammed in the wrong way, which really makes us very disturbed. In fact, this is why we practice self therapy as well. We take our own breaks, we take care of ourselves as well, because if we don't do that, we won't be able to help the people who need really help.
So, I mean, apart from, I'm sure you do go on vacations and stuff. So, apart from that, being a therapist yourself, have you ever needed the help that you give people?
I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, but till date, no. Because I don't feel there is anything wrong in taking help and going through therapy. But I believe I've been able to manage things till date by myself. And obviously, we have our catharsis sessions among psychiatrists whenever we catch up once in a few weeks. We talk about the difficult cases that we have had, not sharing any personal information, but talking about the cases which we felt were heavy. And among us, when we speak, we share, we feel lighter, we realize that this is the same situation with everyone. We can all deal with it together. Sometimes we talk with family is very supportive. Going back, and yes, I do miss gym, but whenever you work out, you take those emotions there as well. And so I think till date everything has managed pretty well by itself.
Yeah.
But if ever I think I require therapy, I would be absolutely first in line to go and do it, because I don't feel there is any shame in it. I don't feel there is anything bad about it, and I would be welcoming it so that I can get better and I can help people, obviously.
Well, I think that itself explains a lot, and I am still in awe of psychiatrists, not just you, every psychiatrist, because you guys choose something that others try to ignore, going through somebody else's pain, listening to us, understanding us, and guiding through that. I know it when I say कि सिर्फ आराम से बैठ के सुन ही नहीं रहे होते हैं, you are actually going through it, but at the same point of time आप उस चीज़ को एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर सकते.
And this is exactly what I tell my brother or the other doctors of specialties, that your job is comparatively simple because people already know about the illness. People come to you knowing that, okay, I can have a heart attack and that's also fine. But if I'm having a panic attack, I cannot accept it. I cannot believe it. If people tag me as someone having it, I will be devastated, and they cannot see me there. There are people coming to me, and sometimes they see their neighbors in the clinic and they're coming to me and don't tell them I'm your patient. Tell them I've just come for a social visit or something of that sort.
Why is
They're
that so embarrassing
so
for them?
embarrassed. Exactly. In today's age, I think there is nothing to be embarrassed about if you're taking help.
No, it's not.
Because this is literally like a cough cold problem. This is a chemical problem. This is a problem that you can have. There's nothing wrong. That does not make you weak. In fact, a lot of people think, how did I become so weak? And I correct them. You are not weak. This is not about strength. This is about a chemical in the mind or a situation that your personality could not take it. And that's okay. That's okay. You can solve it too. Sometimes you require help. Does not mean that you go into a gym and you don't ask for a trainer. Do you? No. You take help there. You take protein there. So what is the wrong part when you come for therapy and you require medicines?
If you get up one day and you decide that you need therapy, you are not being weak. You are actually showing strength. That is what I believe in,
And you're right.
Deciding to show up for yourself is the bravest step.
Exactly. It's tough. It's the toughest thing you'll ever do in your life. But it is the first step of you becoming back you.
So I hope this helps the way we wanted it to, and you ruined my rapid fire. Thank you. So that's it for today, and thank you very much for coming. Thank you so very much. Any message you would like to give?
My favorite, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to take help. We are always there for you. Anytime, any place. In fact, that is why I've given my own personal number on Google itself. People, in fact, ask me this question that how do you manage that? I said, if I don't answer and someone else answers on my behalf, I don't know what they're going to say. You need all the help there is in the world. And I think I'm not enough. There are many of us there out. We are all partners and we are all going to help you together in the best way possible. But you have to ask for it. So don't shy away from it. Take care, all of us.
So yes, get ready to take the first step, because as I said earlier, it's not weakness, it's a sign that you are powerful. This is your strength. So if you think you need help, get up, take that first step, and have a beautiful journey ahead. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.